A customer asked to be greeted with a fortune cookie on login, one sentence, and between it and shipped code sits hours of interpretation. SPECLAN is a VS Code extension that turns your specifications into structured, AI-ready prompts. In this video, we followed that one wish all the way around the loop, authored as a requirement with the new Spec Assistant, implemented by Claude Code, tested live, and released without ever leaving VS Code. That gap, one sentence to shipped code, is where projects quietly rot. The requirement engineer interprets the wish. A ticket flattens it. A developer reinterprets the ticket. An agent gets a fragment. Every hop drops fidelity, and the dropped parts resurface months later as the bug nobody can trace back to a decision. Creating the spec is where that loss is cheapest to stop, and that's the moment we're here for. SPECLAN's new Spec Assistant takes the bare one-line idea, fits it into the specifications the project already has, and walks it from vague wish to precise specification, entirely by answering multiple-choice questions. About 10 minutes of that, and the spec is implementation ready. The rest, the code, the database migration, the tests, is the implementation assistant's job. Today, on the Petstore demo project, that fortune cookie on login wish becomes a real requirement. Claude Code implements it. We watch it run live in the browser, and we ship it, all against one markdown file. Here's the project. This is the Petstore, a pet retail platform whose entire behavior is specified in SPECLAN and built by AI agents from that spec. The running app is up on localhost 3000. What you see in the browser traces back to a markdown file in the spec tree. A customer has asked for something new. They want to greet customers with a fortune cookie on login. That's a wish, not a specification. So we need to create a new requirement. This is what an existing release spec looks like. The customer portal feature, fully structured, overview, user need, scope. Our new requirement belongs underneath it. We right-click the customer portal feature in the tree and choose new requirement. Notice we never told the assistant what kind of artifact to make. We right-click the feature, so it's a requirement under that feature. The calling context decides the type. The assistant opens. It's already telling us something important. It will read the parent feature, plus its sibling requirements. It has the project's context before we type a single word. There's a row of presets that shape the draft structure, and 2 tabs, from template, which never touches AI, and from idea, which we'll use. Now the only input, we type the customer's line exactly as we got it. We want to greet our customers with a fortune cookie on login. No title. No scaffolding. We leave everything else blank, and click Next, Clarify. That bare sentence was the entire input, and because SPECLAN read the surrounding specs, it didn't draft in a vacuum. It comes back with a structured first draft and proposes a title, Fortune Cookie Greeting on Customer Login. The header fills in, so we can see exactly what's about to be created. Now the crossing from idea language into specification language, and it's all multiple choice. 3 questions. How should the message be presented? A banner or card at the top of the dashboard. What's the content pool? A store-managed list of pet-themed fortunes. Any extra elements? Just the text. We pick the answers and click Process Answers. The answers are woven straight into the draft, no separate apply step. We have a refined specification, overview, user need, scope. This is already usable. But refinement here is optional and repeatable, and we have 2 tools for it. Brainstorm to improve the spec, and Clarify to make it precise. Let's use both. Clicking Brainstorm. The assistant proposes concrete improvements, each with a rationale, and where rationale references another spec, it's a link. We click the staff portal reference, and it opens right beside the ideas, so we can read the context instead of guessing at an ID. Now we judge each idea. Accept the fix for the bare staff portal reference. Accept specifying the rotation mechanism that the consecutive sessions rule implies. Reject anchoring responsive design to the parent's performance requirement. That's not this requirement's job. Accept resolving the overlap between functional requirements and acceptance criteria. 3 accepted. We apply them, and the assistant folds them into the draft. The new draft suggests clarifying further, so we do same gesture, more multiple choice. Should session state mean one login memory or a longer history? One login memory tied to the account. Any attribution on the fortune? No, text only. Should the banner reappear within a session? Only once per login event. Process the answers, and the draft refines again. That whole sequence, idea, clarify, brainstorm, clarify again, was a few minutes of picking answers to questions. What comes out is implementation ready. We click Create. SPECLAN writes the file. Requirement R1563. Fortune cookie greeting on customer login. Now a real node in the tree under customer portal with an 8-item acceptance criteria checklist. It's persisted, a traceable artifact for all the future work, not a throwaway draft. That was about 10 minutes of human effort. The rest is automated. Our 10 minutes of work are done. From here, the implementation assistant takes over. The spec is still a draft, so we approve it. Click the status pill, choose Approve. The moment it's approved, a new action appears. Quick impl. We open a terminal and launch Claude Code. Then we click Quick Impel. SPECLAN copies a ready-made implementation prompt to the clipboard. We paste it straight into Claude Code. Look at what got pasted. The prompt points the agent at the exact markdown path for R15-63. It tells it to read the spec, ask which implementation technique to use, set the status to in development, implement the work, not touch sibling specs, and then set the status to under test. The agent is implementing the specification we just authored, not a paraphrase of it, not a ticket about it. The spec itself. Claude picks a technique, and per the handoff protocol, the spec status flips automatically from approved to in development. We didn't hand edit it. The spec drove its own state. Let's stop on this for a second. This is the code Claude is writing, and the header comments cite R15-63 and the feature that owns the token mechanics. Code and specification are interlinked in both directions, which is exactly what makes the next change tractable. It continues. The auth provider, a schema migration, test fixes, and runs the full suite. Nearly 1,800 tests, 0 failures, types clean. It prints what it built and a self-review and hands back, ready for verification. About 13 minutes of agent time. We tell it to set the status to under tests, and we go check the work. Back in the browser, we sign in with the demo customer account. And there it is, the fortune cookie, exactly as the spec described it. A banner at the top of the dashboard. Curiosity is the start of every great adventure, with a dismiss button. That's our requirement, running. Now let's test the rule the clarification round nailed down. Sign out, sign back in, and the fortune is different. A warm welcome makes any place feel like home. The rotation works. The same one doesn't repeat. And the dismiss button works and stays dismissed. Back in VS Code, the requirement is in development. We set it to under tests so the customer can verify it. And when it checks out, we release it. The Petstore now ships the fortune cookie greeting. The wish became a spec, the spec became code, and the code is live. The requirement is released. Let's see what code changed. Open source control. 16 files. The API route, the banner component, the auth provider, the schema, the seeds, the tests, and the requirement file itself is one of them. The specification isn't a document about the change. It's in the change, committed alongside the code it drove, with the code pointing back at it. And one last thing. The new spec assistant we just used, the whole bare idea to implementation ready flow that shipped in SPECLAN 0.9.8. That's it. A customer wish, turned into a living specification, implemented, tested, and released without ever leaving VS Code. Here's what actually happened. A bare customer idea, a clarify round, an optional brainstorm and clarify loop, all of it just picking answers to questions. And out came an implementation-ready specification, persisted in the tree. The requirement engineer's whole job was about 10 minutes. The implementation, the schema migration, the green test suite, that was the implementation assistant. That ratio is the product. Guided clarification in, fast featured delivery out. And it was one artifact the whole way. The wish, the clarified requirement, the thing Claude implemented, the thing we verified, the thing version control recorded as released, all the same markdown file. The 2 clarify rounds and the brainstorm pass removed the ambiguities on the draft, where it cost minutes, instead of after the build, where it cost sprints. That's why the spec ended up in the changeset, with the code citing it back. Specification and code stay interlinked, which is what makes the next change tractable. And all of it shipped in SPECLAN 0.9.8. Thanks for watching. If this was useful, leave a like. It helps other developers find the video. Visit speclan.net for the full docs and tutorials. And install SPECLAN from the VS Code Marketplace. Search for SPECLAN in the extensions sidebar.